Welcome to My Line of Work. Here we dive deep into the world of work, what people do, why they do it, and how they got there. From dream jobs to unexpected paths, every story matters and every career has a story worth sharing. Today, our special guest is Mike Gentry. Thank you so much
Thank you.
for coming. Go ahead and tell people what you do.
I'm Mike Gentry, and during the day, I'm a stay-at-home homeschooling dad.
Cool.
And at night, I am a soccer coach. And so
Awesome.
I've been coaching off and on at various levels for about 23 years.
Very cool. And what got you into that?
I could no longer play. I could no longer play. That's what it was.
That's a good answer.
I had just had back surgery, and I was moved back to Indianapolis, Indiana, and I was driving down the road, and I passed one of my old teammates.
Oh, nice.
And so we stopped on the side of the road. We're like, "Oh, dude, we haven't seen you." He's like, "Maybe you should come out, coach at my club." And that was it. We ended up living together, coaching at rival high schools, and coaching in the same club together for like 2 or 3 years.
That's awesome. Awesome. And how old were you when you stopped playing or couldn't play? You said
I was 20.
20.
Yeah.
What happened?
I was in a car accident.
Oh, wow.
And I ended up having to get back surgery.
Really?
Yeah.
Man. And how? What was recovery like? How long was that?
That was 6 months.
6 months.
Yeah, it was a long time. Lots of laying down.
Man, well, I'm sorry to hear that. And so, growing up, when did you start playing?
I was told to start playing when I was 5.
Oh, nice. You were told.
five, 6. Yeah, there was no.
So you're like my kids. I'm like, you're gonna play soccer.
Well, my parents made me play everything, and then
okay.
And then my dad just didn't think I was good enough to play other sports.
Yeah.
I was 5'3" my freshman year, so basketball kind of wedged it way out.
Yeah, you're like me. Yeah. I wasn't even 5 feet my freshman year.
Oh, wow.
I was like 4'10", 4'11". I was tiny. So yeah.
Yeah.
Soccer's a good sport if you're short. Well, better than basketball.
Definitely better than basketball. Yeah, I tried. I did track and tried wrestling out. And,
oh, nice.
For my parents, it was you have to do music and you have to do sports.
Oh, nice.
So you have to be active.
Yeah.
All the time.
That's the rule we have. We have one more. So our rules is you have to speak a second language, which I speak to them in Spanish. You have to learn an instrument and you have to play a sport.
All right.
So very cool. I like that. So my kids are going to turn out great because you're a great guy. And side note, there's hope for those kids in middle school right now that are short and they're like, oh man, I'm going to be short my whole life. I got my growth spurt in 10th grade. I was around 14, 15-ish. Yeah. When did you get your growth spurt?
About junior, senior year.
Oh, okay. So, and how tall are you now? You're pretty tall.
I made it to 5'11".
Oh, okay. Yeah, so almost 6 feet. 6 feet laying down.
my dad rubs that one in.
But yeah. Is he 6 feet?
He is.
Oh, nice.
But he grew, I think, 26, 27.
Really? Mm-hmm. That late? Mm-hmm. Oh, I always thought you always hear 21 or something. You stop growing.
Yeah, it varies.
I guess it varies. I also heard you're taller laying down. I guess your back decompresses. I don't know.
I might have to hold myself upside
so you can
down
tell your dad I'm 6 feet laying down. Very cool. So running into a friend. What were you doing at the time?
I don't even remember.
Oh yeah.
We were just. I was.
So like after high school, what did you?
So after high school, I went to Crossroads Bible College.
Okay.
And did that for a semester. Did that for a full year.
Okay.
And then I called up a coach who was interested in me my senior year, and went up to Judson to play. And the pain was just kind of one of those things where he knew I had the injured back and kept going, and all the work, all that training just kind of aggravated it. So I had to choose between taking pain meds or playing.
Yeah.
And I think I chose wrong.
Yeah.
But that's what it. So I ended up having back surgery the spring of my sophomore year in college.
Wow.
And that was brutal.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, I mean, I still play. I'm 40 now. I still play. I love it. I play once a week. I'm gonna be sad the day I can't play.
Yeah.
So
I still play a little bit. I
yeah,
just more so time.
yeah.
So
Okay, very cool. And so you run into a friend. He invites you to coach at his club. Um, was there? How was that? How was that transition starting out? Was there a because you said you stopped you coach because you couldn't play anymore, right? Is there a transition? Is there a learning curve? Are you learning to see the game different, right? Because not everyone can coach, right?
yeah, and I think that's one of those weird things where not everyone understands how they play, why they play,
Okay.
and so it just kind of worked for me. I
Okay.
guess I got put in a couple of good environments
Yeah.
underneath some really intelligent guys,
Mm-hmm.
and then so I started coaching club, and then I started coaching at Cathedral High School
Mm-hmm.
with Paul Schroeder, and he taught me a bunch of stuff too. And so
Yeah.
it's just how quickly you can adapt.
Okay.
Recognizing that you're no longer a player.
Yeah.
So how do you teach people how to play? And that's kind of one of those. When I started off, I was not that good.
Okay. Yeah.
So I got cut off of our first our little travel league in
Yeah.
Nebraska, and then when I finally made it, I started out in goalie.
Okay.
Then I was center back. Then I was a left back.
Yeah.
Then I was left wing. Then I was so
Yeah.
having the ability to have played multiple positions
Okay.
and having gone to different did goalkeeping camps and did other things like
Yeah.
that growing up. So
That's good.
I had a different understanding of the game,
Yeah.
and it just kind of fit my particular nature.
Yeah.
Like I like to think about how things work, and I think
Yeah.
that's I had a video cassette of
Oh, yeah.
LA, and he was
Oh,
talking about
nice.
how to be a good player, you have to understand the game,
Yeah.
and you have to play chess. So I
Yeah.
started playing chess and really spent most of my youth trying to understand the
Yeah.
game.
Very cool. What was your favorite position to play?
Striker.
Oh, yeah.
Number 9.
Yeah. That's funny.
What about you?
Midfield.
Midfield.
I'm not big and strong and fast, so
Mhm.
I'm not very good on the defensive side. I don't have a strong leg, so I can't shoot very hard, so I'm not a good forward. And so just in the middle, like I have a nice touch and I can distribute.
Okay.
And that's kind of my comfort. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I heard a quote. I wrote it down to share with you. I saw a quote. It said, "Don't aspire to be the best on the team. Aspire to be the best for the team."
Oh, I like that
And
one.
I wrote that down. Well, one for you, but also for my boys. My son Daniel this year was. They put him
Mhm.
in the back on defense, and he's always been a striker. He's always been,
Mhm.
9 mentality. His favorite player is Ronaldo. He's always just like, I want to score. I want to score. So he had a tough season this year.
Mhm.
And I love that quote, right? It's like, don't aspire to be the best on the team, aspire to be the best for the team, right? Because it is a
Mhm.
team sport, and every position is crucial.
It really is. Oddly enough, that happened on our team.
Oh, yeah?
Our number 9 ended up having to be the center back.
Really?
Mhm.
How do you take that?
Oh, it was rough.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet.
It was rough, but
Yeah.
it got him some exposure with the MLS Next team,
Oh,
and
nice.
so it worked out in the end. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's learning what's best for the team.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Oh, you're fine.
And ultimately, just learning how to play within that framework.
Yeah. Yeah, that's huge. And so how do you communicate that to the players? Because I know, I don't know, for me growing up, everyone wanted to be the one scoring the goals, right? Even in my son's club team, like it's hard to find goalies. They have to rotate players to be the goalkeeper. And so how do you communicate that to the team?
So some of those conversations are just private conversations.
Oh,
So
okay.
you have a conversation with one player, and you're like, look,
Yeah.
we'll just say Mateo, you're a strong player. These are qualities that I see right now on
Yeah.
our team. Here are some holes that we're having to fill. So if we play you in your position, that's great.
Yeah.
But if that doesn't work out, then we've got extra gaps behind you. So you're going to have to do double duty.
Yeah.
Or if we play you here, you're still going to have to play double duty, or you're going to have to do,
Yeah.
not going to engage in the attack as much as you might, but it allows your team to have more success.
Yeah.
And for the most part, a lot of players are accepting of that.
Yeah.
They like to know well, again, everybody likes to know their strengths.
Yeah.
And everyone likes to know, hey, having you not in your position, it really does affect us as a team. But
Yeah.
having you help us here shows how much more quality you have and makes you a better player.
Yeah.
And so I think as long as you're about under 16,
Yeah.
that's a lot easier to accept.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing I told my kids. I was like, right now it's about development. Like wherever the coach puts you, be there, learn that position. Ultimately, it's going to help you.
Correct.
If you learn defense, it's going to help you on offense.
And I think the best part about it is if the young player themselves will come up and say, Coach, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
There's a lot different conversation when players stand up for themselves and advocate for themselves versus this is what I need you to do.
Yeah. Okay. So that's advice to players and parents. So your advice is if the kid is not happy where he is, the player to go tell the coach.
Always. And if the parent is unhappy, then they certainly should go to the coach and talk as well.
Yeah.
But understand that ultimately it's up to their player to step up and or not.
Yeah.
I've had conversations this year with players and having to sit down with the parent, I'm like, I guess you're all right. And, a couple months in, player's working hard, player gets rewards. It's just kind of how it works.
Yeah. Okay. Have you seen any late developing players? I was kind of a late developing player.
Yes, every day.
Oh, yeah.
It's like I tell my son, it's all numbers.
Yeah.
It really is numbers.
Mm-hmm.
How much time are you doing X, Y, Z?
Yeah.
Because in the world of a sport here, you'll see in every event, and you have your early bloomers, and you have your late bloomers.
Yeah.
And your late developers usually have more technical skill, more grit, more.
Yeah.
And so it's how do you keep those graphs going so you kind of get a good intersect.
Yeah.
And the Johann Cruyff Institute, they've actually been spending a lot of time working on those young developers.
Okay.
And so, as I said, I told my son it's time.
Yeah.
So right now, if a more athletic, further developed guy is putting in 8 hours a week, then you need to not just put in 8 hours a week. You need to put in 10, 12.
Yeah.
Because that extra time you're putting in is more time than the other. So if you're going to master something, more time you put in, obviously you're going to master it.
Yeah.
And so if you can put more time in while you're still developing, then you're going to outperform that person later.
Yeah.
And that's possible mid-season. It's possible for next season.
Yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong, because I see this from a parent and previous player, but your expertise goes beyond mine. With my boys, I always tell them learn to control the ball, like learn to stop the ball, kind of like in basketball, right? Like I tell them if you don't catch the ball, you can't dribble, you can't shoot, you can't pass, right? You got to catch the ball, right? So with my kids, and this is just me, I can be wrong. I'm like, the most important thing is that first touch, like being able to control the ball. I don't know. What do you think about that?
First touch. It is what you can do with the ball. Your technical ability, the better it is, gives you more freedom on the field.
Yes.
Yeah. So I can never say Wegner's first name, but the guy who coached Arsenal back in the 90s.
Oh,
yeah. Try that.
I don't know. I know what you're talking about.
But yeah, he was saying, that your technical ability on the ball is what it is. It's quintessential.
Yeah.
And, and so right now, like before our sessions start, the kids have half an hour. And so when I'm working with the small groups with another coach, they're juggling the ball for about half an hour.
Okay.
Just nonstop juggle, touch.
Yeah.
Using different parts of your foot, using different parts of your body, because these are things that, of course, players at home juggle your ball.
Yeah.
But the more you get familiar with the ball, the more you can do with it.
Yeah.
No different in basketball or any other sport that you have to control the ball.
Yeah. So juggling, is there something else that they can do alone? I heard wall passing is...
Wall passing. Kicking off a wall, however you want to, as creative as you can.
Yeah.
Cool. Touches.
Yeah.
Working on foot skills is a good one as well.
Okay.
Pick a couple of skills you want to work on and see if you can work on them in tight spaces. See if you can work on it on concrete. See if you can work on it in grass. I always encourage players to have 3 in their pocket that they're really, really comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's a start.
Yeah.
So like 7, 8, 9, have 3,
Yeah.
and then we just keep building up from there.
Cool. Very cool. All right. So let's take it back a little bit. So you're starting your career through a relationship, right? You were able to connect and have that opportunity. Did you from there take any training to become a coach?
Yeah, that's where I'm getting kicked in it right now.
Okay.
So when I started, ministry is what I was really wanting to do.
Oh, okay.
So my day basically went. I was at the gym doing some training early.
Yeah.
And then church, and then soccer and church. That's all. So it was either preaching or doing some type of ministry.
Oh, okay.
And then soccer.
Yeah.
And so I had a choice to make. I could continue to be poor and coach, or I could continue to be poor and go into ministry.
Yeah.
So I decided that
choose your poison.
Yeah. So I got my E license at the time, and I had to choose to get my D license, and I was like, you know what? Nah, I don't need that.
Your E license? What is that?
So that the equivalent would be grassroots now.
Okay.
So minimal.
Okay.
But my buddy's like, oh, let's go get our D together. Let's go get our C. I'm like, oh, I really don't want to coach for the rest of my life.
Oh.
I'd actually rather do ministry. And so I ended up coaching for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
But not getting those other licenses earlier on changed the pathway that I had and opportunities that I had.
Okay.
And so most of my coaching has been done definitely doing developmental stuff, high school, some clubs. And I've found my way in different places. I did Seahorse Soccer, which is a soccer ministry in Japan. So
nice.
They're out of Biola, and they come to Japan, and they do a couple of military base and a couple other cities. And so I did that for quite a few summers when we were in Japan.
Yeah.
And that's kind of always been the thing. So soccer has always been more of a ministry tool, or we're in an area and kids need a coach, so I'll coach, or I really miss it, and I just kind of want to get back involved.
Yeah.
And so it's just kind of one of those where I always end up finding myself in a club environment. And so this time, now that we're no longer moving, I was like, you know what? Now it's time to invest. So, so now I'm coaching high school, I'm coaching in club, and on that pathway right now, looking at different courses that I need to start taking.
Okay.
Just to kind of catch up with some of these younger guys and see how the game's evolved a little bit more.
Yeah.
So it's one of those beautiful things where the licensing does help. It gives you different experiences and different exposures, but so does time.
Yeah. Yeah. And so what licenses are out there for those that are interested in coaching?
You have your D, your C, your B, and your A for USSF. So United States Soccer Federation, and that would be pretty much standard.
Yeah.
I would like to eventually, in the next few years, maybe look into getting the UEFA or maybe a FIFA license.
Okay.
Just to get a completely different perspective of the game, hopefully, and just go to Europe for a reason.
There you go. So to get the UEFA license, you have to go to Europe? You can't get it from here?
I believe so. Yeah. No, that's one of those where it's just like, it's been would like to. So it's not been very, but we need to get some other stuff here done at home first.
Okay. And in you mentioned the FIFA license. Is that something that you can do here, or do you have to?
Again, you know what? Didn't know those happen. So that's kind of sitting over there.
Okay.
And because right now I have some other things that are just bigger projects that I'm working on right now.
Yeah. Okay. And then to get started, you can get an E license?
It'd be grassroots, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And then what opportunities does that open up if I had that license?
It just kind of gets your foot in the door.
Okay.
In general, like if you've got your rec programs, right? And so your e-license is really good for, I got to coach my kids' team. I've never really coached before. I don't know how to do this.
Okay.
Hey, let's get you some fundamentals. Get you to understand the new models.
Yeah.
And things like that. And as you go up, you're learning different things too: team management, scheduling management,
Yeah.
and other aspects of coaching that are not just on the field.
Yeah.
So like how to use your I'm drawing a blank on words all of a sudden.
Oh, you're good.
How to develop your principles, your sub principles,
Okay.
and how to set up a periodization schedule, how to make sure you're covering different aspects of technical attacking and defense, and
Okay.
technical and tactical, offensive and defensive, and learning how to schedule bigger than just this is what we're doing this week.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Very cool. Okay. And then, so obviously, the higher up you go, the more complex the training we would call
and
it.
Responsibilities.
Okay.
So with your license, you typically might be just starting in a club, maybe with the academy,
Okay.
or using rec. And then as you get your D, you'll go up higher, and But I know a lot of guys who are happy with their D and they don't want any more. They're content just coaching where they're at. And I know some guys who are like, I want to be a college coach. So,
okay.
So they push and push and push, and they go. But it's really just how far you want to go and what you want to do.
Okay. And I don't know if you know this, but which programs pay the most? Is it the collegiate level, or is it? I know there's a lot of money to be made.
There's a lot of money
clubs.
everywhere. The money to be made is to be one of the top dogs in U.S. soccer. That's where the money is.
Yeah.
But no, I honestly don't know.
Okay.
Coaching college, of course, obviously gives you a steady income.
Yeah.
Being directors in clubs, that's a fairly good income as well. But again, they each come with their own different type of sacrifice of time.
Yeah. Okay. And is there a favorite age that you like to coach?
Right now, if I had to choose, I still really like working with high school boys.
Oh, okay.
It's the speed of play is a bit more.
Yeah.
You're still in that little cusp of I'm still on my hero's journey, but I'm willing to learn how to continue to be a hero.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I love working with like 5-6-year-olds.
Oh yeah.
Because they are much more moldable, much more acceptable.
Yeah.
And then you kind of hit that sweet spot at 10.
Okay.
Where the kids have enough technical ability to be able to do stuff.
Yeah.
And they love showing off, and they love.
Okay.
So there's my answer. 3 age groups.
Yeah. All 3. I was telling my wife, because you brought up technical ability. So my son made his 7th grade team.
Oh, good for him.
In middle school. And they were charging us to go to the games. When I was in middle school, you could just go for free, right? Which makes sense because the level of competition, or like the product being put out, is not. I'm like, we're having to pay for this, like high school maybe, right? Like like I understand paying. Like you're watching a game, but there's some kids out there. I mean, some of these kids are good, and others are just athletic, right? And so they just run fast or whatever, right? And so, the quality of soccer in middle school I don't think is worth paying for.
But on the administrative side, you're not paying to watch the game. You're paying for fields. You're paying for uniform, and that's a hard part.
Oh, there you go. I didn't think about that part.
Because I think the school should be compensating with like free popcorn or.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay, so there's licenses. Do you know the cost and the time to get those licenses? Like if I want to coach, if I want to get my foot in, I'm like, okay, how much is this going to cost me? How long is this going to take me?
I'd rather not discuss that number.
Oh, is it?
The C license is a couple of weeks, and I remember.
Oh, that's it.
Sorry, a couple of weeks over 6 months. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry. Let me rephrase that.
Yeah.
Your D license is, I want to say, 4 weekends.
Okay. Your
C license, I believe, is over a 3-month period.
Okay.
Or a 6-month period. I can't remember.
Yeah.
The C is, I believe, a couple of years ago was 1,800.
Okay.
And your B is a couple more thousand than that.
Oh, okay. So the more you go up, the longer it takes, the more expensive it gets. Okay. But the E license
I want to
doesn't
say
take
it's
very
like,
long.
no,
Couple
I
hundred
think it's
bucks.
like a day or two.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not too much. Again, it's just to
You have to pass the test, or is it just like you have to? Is it just like a completion grade?
So when I took it, it was we had a test and then we had a field test. So it was a written and on the field.
Okay.
And some of the other coaches that I've helped with, so when I was in Washington, I helped do the audio video for one, and that was an entire session.
Okay.
So he had to do an entire session, film it, record it, and then that was graded.
Oh wow. Okay. Very cool.
Yeah. So it's a hodgepodge of just finding out different ways of what you know.
And are these licenses by state, or is it like a national thing? How does that work?
They're by you take them by state. So you have your state governing bodies, but then it all falls under United States Soccer Federation.
Okay. So if I get my license in Texas, can I go to?
You can go wherever you want to. And it will basically it follows your portal. So you have a USSF portal.
Oh, okay.
And then
so it transfers if I move.
Yeah, it just stays with you. So, but like if you lose it, right? If you need validation or something, then you need to call up Texas and be like, "Hey, Texas, I need."
Oh, okay.
Blah blah blah.
Okay, that's good to know. Because in my career field, I'm licensed in Texas. Mm-hmm. If I go somewhere else, I have to probably retest or do something. I don't know. I've never moved. I've only lived in 2 places ever. Mm-hmm. So, that's why I ask. Okay. And so where you are now, has it been just through opportunities, building relationships? How have you gotten to coach where you are now?
I have been has been just open a door. It was just an open door.
Really?
I was so getting involved with Seahorse Soccer. I was the worship leader and the youth pastor at the chapel, and the chaplain said, "Hey, you play soccer? Do you know these guys?" And that's how that would happen. Or when we moved here, where I'm working right now, I was my high school, my charter school that I work at. We rent the fields, and the VP came out and said, "Hey, why don't you stay here?" And so fortunate, I've been very blessed to say that everywhere I've coached has been an open door.
Wow, so that's great.
I've never actually had to apply. Or knock on a door or actually pursue. Which is really not very helpful for a lot of people there. I have zero understanding
about them, actually. Just wait, guys. It'll come.
No idea how to actually go get a coaching job. None at all. I have always been on the side of, would you come work here? Or would you be willing to do?
That's awesome.
So that's good work advice. Don't apply.
Don't apply.
But no, in all honesty, no. Everywhere I have been has just been someone saying, "Hey, would you? We see this. Would you please join? We enjoy having you on staff. Would you do this?"
Man, that's great. No, that's good. I think as I interview people, their opportunities have come, via different ways. I interviewed a pharmacist, and his high school teacher was like, "Hey, have you ever thought about going to college?" And he was like, "Nope, never thought about going to college." And that's how he got into becoming a pharmacist. Very cool. So just, someone telling him, "Hey, I think you can go and be this." And so, everyone's journey is different, right? And so we just want to hear your story, your perspective, and it'll help. It's gonna help someone.
It'll help someone. In hindsight, though, I wish I would have gotten my C my D and my C with my buddy. Way back when it was a lot cheaper, a lot easier.
Oh, that's smart.
And because it's kind of one of those things where I'm a I play guitar, and I've taken 3 guitar lessons in my life.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I got kicked out of guitar lessons.
How'd that? Was it 3 lessons with the same teacher, or you got kicked out?
No, it was the same teacher. he was really gentle about it.
Yeah.
The first time, first lesson was, hey, this is what we're doing. Second lesson was, did you practice? No. Third lesson was a flat out, I'm not going to waste my time with you. Like, just not going to. He's just like,
if you don't practice,
but playing by ear is really, it's what you do. But he told me flat out, he's just like, look, Mike, he's like, one day God's going to call you to do something.
Yeah.
And if you're not prepared, he's not going to wait for you to do that.
Yeah.
And you're going to miss a lot of opportunities to be used. And so,
that's good.
Personally, I've been very thankful to be able to be in opportunities to do things.
Yeah.
But pay, that's a difference. What you are worth pay wise. How much weight your voice carries.
Yeah.
So it's a lot different when you're sitting with, again, guys your own age.
Yeah.
But they have B license, they have A license, they have, and they are your boss.
Yeah.
What you bring to the table might be beneficial, but you lack the credential behind your name. And so
I like that.
Yeah. And so sometimes not sometimes, all the time, doing the work behind that invisible, like sports terms, we do the invisible training, it equips us better for the game.
Yeah.
And so while I do have experience and things like that, one struggle has definitely been not having those credentials to be able to stand up and say, I disagree.
Yeah.
And have it be valid as opposed to confrontational.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's a great lesson. I felt that. It's funny because my brother is an engineer. I studied education, right? And in both of our careers, he said that in engineering, mostly everything he learned was once he started working at his firm. Same thing with teaching, right? Like I had an education degree, but once I got into the classroom, it's like, oh, now this is what it means to, I don't know how to manage a classroom.
Classroom management's huge. It's huge.
Yeah. And so I think I think it's like that in a lot of fields where you go and you learn the theory, right? But then putting it into practice or I met another guy that's a software engineer and he learned one language in college and now he's using 5 different languages, right? But it's not important that, oh, well, I know this language, right? It was important that he learned the process of coding, like that process, right?
And then, of course, being able to say, I'm qualified to do that.
And having the credentials to say, this, this allows me to do this, right?
Correct.
So, yeah, that's a good lesson for those of you listening. Credentials do matter.
They do very, very much.
Yeah. And yeah, I think as you gain the experience, right? And as theory and practice, right? Like you can't just learn all theory and never do anything.
Correct.
And you can't just go out there and think you're doing something right and never learn the theory behind it. I think if you put those two together, that makes
good synergy.
You an expert. Synergy, there you go.
Yeah.
It makes you an expert. If you know the theory and you know the practice, you put them together. Okay, so during the day, you say you homeschool. At night, what time do you go in to work then?
Our staff meeting starts at 5.
Okay.
And then I'm there till training ends at 9:35. So by the time I'm off the field, it's by 10.
Wow. So 5 to 10 at night. Is your typical Monday through Friday?
Yep.
That's training.
That's
right?
training.
Okay. And then games and tournaments. Are they only on the weekends?
Only on the weekends.
Because you say you coach high school and you coach club.
Right now,
are you
able
to
overlap?
Okay, they don't overlap.
Correct.
Have they ever overlapped?
No.
Oh, wow, that's great.
So one project I'm working on is I'm trying to develop a 9v9 intramural league for all the kids who are not on their high school team.
Oh, okay.
So everyone who didn't make high school, or there's you have various reasons. You're homeschooled, online school, got cut, or didn't want to try out and play with a coach.
Okay.
I'm trying to make a place available for those guys to play. So
So
I'm going to have some overlap.
Okay.
And with that, I'm hoping the inaugural kickoff this year I'm hoping for 4 teams.
Okay.
I know that seems I just want 4 because
no, that's good
for logistics reasons.
You just need 2 to play.
Well, this is the first time I've ever tried to actually put a league together, and I'm realizing, it's good in concept.
Yes.
But no one ever told me about the financial side of actually arranging everything. So that's been a steep thing. But so there's going to be a little overlap this year, and I'm hoping to have a little overlap next year. And I think it's beneficial. Just to kind of keep my foot in different waters. Different skill levels, and work on different methodologies and at different levels to see how they translate, or if they just simply don't.
Yeah. And then, do you have an assistant coach?
I do not.
You do not. Okay. So it's you.
It is solo me.
So how do you think you will handle that overlap if it ever does happen? Have you thought that far?
Have I thought that far? That's very funny.
Because I'm still trying to figure out the money side of it.
No. I have figured out part of it enough to be able to say, if somebody can help me with the 9v9, here's what I can give you for your time.
Yeah. Oh, perfect. Yeah. Okay.
I'd love to say it's mine. I'm gonna take ownership of it, but heck no. I am. Yeah. I'm too forgetful at my age right now.
Yeah. I did volunteer coaching when my kids were little. And I mean, from playing, I knew enough to coach them because they were little. I think when I stopped coaching, they were maybe around 9, 10. So it was still a lot of fundamentals. But even at the volunteer coaching level, I didn't know any of this. I didn't know anything about licensing. I didn't know anything that there was training available to me. Right? I just did what I knew as a player. I felt bad for other teams. Some other teams had parents that had no soccer background, and they're just out there trying to manage the kids, and that was stressful. If I would have known what you're teaching me now, I would have been like, hey, you can go get an e-license and like learn fundamentals.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, most of my career I owe to Miles Glenn. He's my goalkeeper. From high school, from my high school club team, and he's the one who got me started coaching. And he's the one who's like, I think it was 25, 24. He was a director of coaching of a club out in Montana. That's what he wanted to do, and so he forced me along. So like a lot of the stuff I never knew was not an option.
Okay.
So I remember for the I think it was back in 2001, 2002. There was a Youth Nationals coaching symposium.
Okay.
And we couldn't afford it. We were poor as could be. So he pulled some strings. So we would work as vendors. Like we would be moving crates of stuff and setting up things so we could sit in sessions for free.
Oh, very cool.
And so like, to me, it's just like, how can you not know there's youth symposiums that happen that you can actually go to and learn from? And, but never knew that stuff. So, but like what you're saying, like, what you're exposed to changes what you expect of it. But no, there's a lot available for a lot of coaches, and a lot of clubs are willing to work with coaches. You just actually have to reach out.
Okay. And starting out, right, as I'm getting licensed and trying to get my foot in the door, is it typical for coaches? I don't know if you know this. Is it typical for coaches to work during the day and then try to become a coach at night?
I was going to say, well, like we're from now. Yes, it is typical to be bivocational.
Okay.
That unfortunately is very, very typical.
Yeah.
Even coaches who have like 3 or 4 teams will probably still work during the day.
Wow.
Yeah, unless you, in the club level, unless you hit director, you're probably working during the day.
Oh, interesting.
And your wife's probably working too, or your partner or your dog or whoever can bring in extra income.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you've never had to do that, obviously, but how many teams are you coaching right now, you said?
Just one.
Oh, okay.
Which is really unheard of. There's not a lot of coaches that really just get one team.
Yeah.
In this
spring, so typically you get
like 2 or 3 teams.
Oh, okay. And well, obviously you don't pick, but they tell you what age levels you're kind of given.
You kind of get a choice. Like, hey, I'm better with this group, or I'm better.
Oh, okay.
And there are conversations.
There's some input.
That happen.
Okay. Well, that's good. And then have you coached girls and boys?
I have coached girls and boys.
Are there any differences you
see? Oh my goodness. Are there any differences? That's a loaded question. Yes, there are many.
Yeah.
I think my favorite one is when you're watching film.
Uh-huh.
You can be in a classroom watching film with the girls, right?
Uh-huh.
And you can just say, "What's a mistake?" And almost typically back again, this is when I did it.
Yeah.
Almost every single girl was like, "I did. I made a mistake. I made a mistake.
Oh,
I made a mistake."
Interesting.
Girls on the bench were like, "I made a mistake," because we didn't do this in training. Like, I'm just so horrible. I'm just guys, you can get the film.
Yeah.
Who made the mistake? He did. He did. He did.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
The point of view is a lot different. It's like,
oh, wow, that's interesting.
And so how you coach them is completely different too.
Yeah.
How there's different modes of emotion. There's different ways to, like with a group of guys, you can be like, "Guys, I'm disappointed in how you played today."
Yeah.
No big deal.
Yeah.
Tell those girls I'm pretty disappointed in how you played today. Complete destruction. Yeah. Like not destruction, but they feel it. More.
Yeah.
And again, that also depends on the group of girls too.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have some girls that are just like really into it, and sometimes you have more guys that are a little bit more sensitive. So it's not a not a blanket statement.
Yeah.
But what you can expect in speed of play, what you can expect in tactical play.
Yeah.
Just because you have different physical strength differences.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But no, I enjoy coaching girls the times that I have.
Yeah.
And I probably would coach that same age again. Like I don't mind it at all.
Yeah.
I coached middle school age girls and high school age girls, and it was really enjoyable.
That's cool. That's interesting. My younger son is more sensitive. If you tell him anything, he's just like, he beats himself up. My older son's a little more resilient. He's like, he's more like the girls you mentioned, like, "Oh, I messed up this and I need to do better this." And he's real introspective. And then my younger son is just, did we win? Did we lose? If we won, don't tell me anything. Like, I don't care if I messed up, we won.
And at the end of the day, that's how most people are. If you win, then there's a lot more forgiveness. If you do not win, yeah.
What are some pros and cons of what you do in your career field? Coaching, pros and cons.
For pros, investing in young people.
Okay.
That is huge.
Yeah.
Especially with the high school guys, they're in a completely different age, so it's a moment of letting them experience being a young man.
Okay.
Learning how to address an adult male.
Yeah.
As equals at moments and subordinate at moments as well.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy being able to offer, some players, the car ride home is horrible.
Okay.
Life at home is horrible.
Yeah.
But being able to sit down there and say, "Hey, let's put your dad ride me aside.
Yeah.
Let's put those expectations aside and let me help you and connect with you to find who you are and how you fit in this."
Yeah.
And so for some players, just being able to connect with them in a positive way is huge.
Oh, that's cool.
I also really, the pro is getting more out of people. I know that seems really weird, but it's exciting after 3 months or 4 months or even a season, having a young man come up to you and go like, "Man, thanks. Like, I never knew." You can push so much and get so much out of it.
That's cool.
The relationships that you make with some parents, coaching staff, people that you just kind of bump into and kind of chat with in different locations. Like there's a couple of coaches that, every time we're at a tournament, it's like, "Hey dude, how you doing?" Like definitely we're going to have to get together if we ever have time, so those things are fun. And I just really do personally enjoy learning more about the game. There are definitely moments where within staff you have those conflicts of you need to do better, or I am doing better, and but having that moment of humility, be like, "Okay, well maybe I'm not. Maybe I need to grow some more." and then take it and grow some more.
Yeah.
I love working with the youngers and just seeing them light up.
Yeah.
I think, if anything, the biggest pro for me is that aha moment.
Yeah.
Where those kids see a challenge and they meet it.
Yeah.
Or you teach them something and they apply it and they have success. And that aha moment where they're like, oh,
yeah,
got it.
Yeah.
Cons, pay, travel, time.
Yeah.
Time away from family, time away from kids.
Yeah.
No, honestly, the biggest con would really be dealing with upset people who feel their investment in you is not up to par. Because in America, soccer is a pay-to-play sport, as in most sports are.
Yeah.
And so parents have a certain expectation of you.
Yeah.
Of your results, of your character, of your personality. And, for the most part, I've always been fairly lucky to have adults who will come up to me and speak to me as an adult.
Yeah.
So for the most part, that I've had that. But unfortunately, I've also had the displeasure of having parents who won't actually speak to me, and they go to the director and they go to that, and that causes tension all over.
Yeah.
But that's the biggest con, is trying to help everyone manage their expectations.
Yeah.
Because as much as we love all of our players and all of our sons, all our children, to be the best of everything that they do.
Yeah.
The reality is they're not.
Yeah.
And so we still want to facilitate an environment that's competitive, that's growing, that's encouraging.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's to make lifelong players.
Yeah.
Someone who at 40, 50 years old can still go run around, kick around, maybe with their grandkids, neighbors, because it's a unifying game.
Yeah.
And so the biggest con is dealing with angry people who aren't getting what they feel they deserve.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet that would be, I don't know if I could handle that. Because I only coached at the volunteer rec level. And they were happy, right? It's just, we're here to have fun, right? I don't know if I could do the club level. Because my boys play club. And I even see it differently, right? So there was one weekend where each son had a game. My younger son's team lost 3-2. And I felt that my son had a really good game. And they played a really good game, the team. And I loved his contribution. I loved his opportunities to develop. I just loved it. He was upset because he lost, but I was like, man, but you played really well. And, you had these opportunities. And okay. My other son, they won 3-0. And he hardly touched the ball, hardly contributed. In that particular game, if I remember correctly, 2 of the 3 goals were like long balls, and then the forward just got it, goal, right? There was very minimal team, it was just, I didn't like the progression of the game. My son didn't contribute. He was happy because they won. This one's mad because they lost. And I was the opposite. I'm like, I love this game. Even though you lost, you touched the ball a lot. You played together. You're, whatever. And then this kid was like, yeah, you won, but y'all didn't really play as a team. You got 2 like easy goals, like just quick counter goals. And I don't know. So I see that. So that's just one parent, right? You have 14 other parents that maybe they're like, hey, I'm glad we won. Like, or hey, I don't know.
It is tough. Like when I get to be a dad and go watch, my kids play, I get to hear the parents on the sideline. And
yelling and screaming.
And I'll be honest with you, like when one of my children does something, I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that's the choice they decided to make on the field for whatever reason. What reason, I don't know. But my biggest concern is, did you try as hard as you could?
Yeah.
If you did not, then we have words.
Yeah.
If you did, I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm that parent where, offsides, ref, it's offsides. I'm like, maybe it wasn't.
Yeah.
It's just like, and you're not going to change it. You just let the kids play.
Yeah.
And so I as I've gotten older and my kids are the same age of the kids I'm coaching now.
Oh, okay.
I'm having moments of difficulty because, like, as a dad, I'm just like, that was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
We can fix that later. As opposed to like, losing it on the side, like, you need it. Yeah. But learning your coaching style changes as you age too has been something.
Yeah.
But no, I'm totally with you. Like, what parents obsess about on the sideline versus what I obsess about on the sideline are day and night.
Yeah, I bet. And so what advice to a parent like me who I do want to address, some of the mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do it on the car ride home because I've heard, right? When and how would you kind of advise those conversations taking place?
Well, if it's recorded, it's a lot easier.
Oh,
so if you're recording it, and then I would say, as long as it's a more positive, growing environment. So if that's a culture at home you're developing, where it's like, hey, it's Tuesday afternoon, let's pop in the game. It's just a couple moments. Let's see what happened.
Mm-hmm.
But the truth of the matter is understanding that most players won't remember what happened in the game.
Yeah.
Most of the kids will, like with my son, he's done something in the game. I'm like, dude, he's like, that was a complete accident. He's like, it hit there was a hole right there and it hit. He's like, I don't know what happened. And so some things that you think, like, I went to praise him one time. I'm like, dude, that was amazing what you did. He's like, that was a complete accident. Like, I totally missed the ball and I accidentally did something phenomenal. You're like, okay, well then, but at the end of the day, building the inquisitiveness of your child is what's really important. So if you want your young player to grow, you can totally ride them. You can do it. Like, it all works.
Yeah.
But if at the end of the day, the child comes to you and say, hey, how did I play today?
Mm-hmm.
If you can build that type of environment, then anything you say to them is going to be a positive forward motion.
Yeah.
And ultimately, that's what you want, is a positive forward motion. I mean, you could totally do an ice bath in the morning, like just dunk water on them, say, we're going to watch a game. And if you do good, you can eat. You can do, I wouldn't recommend that, but I think having an honest conversation with them too, like, where do you want to go? How far do you want to take this? And then having appropriate conversations to say, what's the cost that it's going to cost you to do this? Because if your player just wants to have fun and they just want to maybe play high school, then your child's going to do what they do. That's as far as they're going to go. If they say they want to do college, then there's different expectations. But I think ultimately having that conversation, where are we going? Mm-hmm. What's it going to cost you time-wise? What's it going to cost you athletic-wise? Because I think a lot of parents get upset because we're providing so much financially. And we're expecting our child to appreciate the investment. But I think if we spend time expressing to our children, like, we want you to do this, we want you to enjoy yourself, but you're not doing this just for fun. We're going to see how we shape and mold ourselves as young individuals. And so if you're a young individual, like, so Mateo wants to play college ball and Daniel doesn't, then the standards for them are going to be different.
The approach is different.
The conversation is going to be different.
That's good.
So with Mateo, it's going to be, if you want to play college ball, then you got to get 15 minutes of ball work every morning before you go to school. That's what it is. If Daniel, you want to go ahead and bump around with him, go ahead. But your conversation is going to, it's a lot different.
I never thought about asking them because I know so my wife and I were, when they were little, they played rec. Okay, cool. It worked. They played at a league that worked for us, our schedule, our finances. Okay. We moved when my son was in 3rd or 4th grade, my oldest, Mateo. And the district that we moved into, my wife, heard at the gym. She works at the YMCA, and from other moms, she heard that the middle school team was very competitive. That if you want them to make the school team, like it'd be a good idea to put them in the local clubs. Like, okay, so parents talking, it's like, okay, well, let's put him in club so that he can make the middle school team, and then that'll give him a chance to make the high school team. And then that's really that was our aspirations for our boys. Is we want them to play at school.
Yeah.
And so if they want to play at school here, we've got to put them in club because apparently it's a competitive district. Okay. I've never asked them how far they want to go. Right? Because when I was little, I wanted to be a professional soccer player.
Yeah.
But
why wouldn't you?
I didn't have the opportunities. I never played club. My first organized soccer game was freshman year in high school on the JV team. But no, I like that you say like, well, ask them what they want to do, right?
Yeah,
like,
I mean, we ask them all the other time. You're like, because
it's their life, right?
It really is. My daughter decided not to do volleyball because she looked at it and she's just like, there's no longevity in it for me.
Okay.
And if I go to college to play a sport, I have a better chance at soccer and I have a better chance of getting a scholarship.
Okay.
I'm like, that's your choice.
Cool, yeah.
I'm like, I'm fine with that. We'll support that. We'll go to IDP, what are those things? ID camps, and we'll do those things for you. But you have to know the cost, what you have to invest to get there.
Yeah.
So if you're not doing this every day, if you're not doing this every day, if you're not doing this every day, then I'm not going to support further because and I think like for me growing up, conversations that I've had with my parents as we've gotten older, it's just like, why didn't you ever tell me that? Why didn't you ever tell me? They're like, well, I never thought that was important. It's like, well, I think as a child, understanding investment is important. Understanding hardships that you go through is important. So when we sit down, I'm like, look, man, it cost X amount for you to play here. Those boots cost X amount for you to wear. There's a certain amount of respect that you have to have for the investment that we've given you. And if you don't want to do that, so some part of it is contractual, and some of it is covenant. The covenant is I always will provide for you. I always provide everything I can for you and do the best for you. But the contract is when you step outside of that and you want something bigger, then you are signing and saying this is what you're committing to. And if you won't commit to it, then that's your choice. But you can't be a collegiate player if you're not obsessed about it now.
Yeah. And then also having the conversations of like, these are our expectations or hopes, right? Because I've also never told Mateo, hey man, you know what? Like, I want to see you play at school, right? Like because it's pay to play, right? And the club, it's every week, right? I've gotten less excited about his club games. When he made his middle school team, it was like, oh man, this is awesome, right? Like I just got really excited about, so I think I'm gonna share that with him. Like, hey man, like I want to see you play high school, like club. It's always gonna be there. If we keep paying, you're gonna be on this team.
Unfortunately, it's not. At some point too.
Oh, okay.
Depending on your club and depending on the environment, you can get cut.
Oh.
And then there's just nowhere else.
Yeah.
As you keep aging up, that's kind of what happens.
Okay.
Like for me, I think every time I get to watch my kids play is exciting.
Yeah.
Mainly because I enjoy being frustrated. I don't know why. No, and for me, like my expectation really is just for them to take whatever they want in life. And take it. Like own it. So Rye wants, her GPA to be something great. She comes home with her report card. I'm like, baby girl, I really hate to tell you this, but I really don't care. And she's like, why didn't you care about my grades? I'm like, because if you are pursuing your best and you're doing your best, the grades will take care of themselves. So when her classroom participation is low, that bothers me. Like for you to choose not to participate, that's a bother. But like as far as her grades go, I don't care. Because at the end of the day, if you are striving for excellence,
Yeah.
excellence will come.
Yep.
And so I'm excited to see them take things on their own.
Yeah.
Whatever comes with that,
yeah.
Like, let's just say hypothetically in some made up world that I'm living in right now, Mike just turns into a beast over the next 6 months and he's playing somewhere. I'll be as proud of him then as I am proud of him making sure when he checks off his daily wake quest, making sure that he's going to work out. As long as he's investing himself into whatever he does is great. Good for him. But it's that personal drive, that ownership.
Yeah. Well, one of the reasons I started this channel was trying to help people find their purpose, right? There's a lot of ways to make money, but if you can make money doing something that you are great at and that you're passionate about, right? Like those two things together, right? Like to me, I think that's the ultimate goal, right? Like I'm making money doing something that I'm great at and I love, right? So same thing with my boys, like soccer to me is a hobby. Like I don't anticipate them going pro. I just, like you, I want to invest in them to where they can be lifelong. Like I want to grow up and play indoor soccer with them. Like I want them to play where I play.
There you go.
Eventually. So I'm doing, like you said, I'm doing things in my life. I'm eating a certain way. I train a certain way for longevity, right? And yeah, same thing. When in my kids, like it's not that I'm not excited to see them play soccer, but it's like, well, I mean, you're not going to be a professional soccer player, right? It's fun to watch you play, but I'm more excited, like you said, as you grow, and they become the men they're meant to become. And it's like, oh, this is awesome. And then, there's some exciting moments along the way. There's sports. Mateo's playing the guitar now. And he played at church for the first time. And it was like awesome. But yeah, it's like, you're not going to be a professional musician. But just try things, right? Just try things. Like find your purpose, find your calling, find where you fit, how you contribute to the world.
Yeah. It's no different than finding your spiritual gift.
Yeah.
You find things the more you do things.
Yes.
And so the more you get exposed to things, the more opportunities you have.
Yes.
And so, So ultimately, lots of things would be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if any of our boys wanted to be a musician, they could.
Yeah.
Are they willing to put in the time?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so ultimately, I think it's I agree with you. There's am I good at it? Can I make money at it?
Yeah.
Does the world enjoy it?
Yeah.
And is it something I'm passionate about?
Yeah.
You knock those 4 off, you got that perfect center.
Yeah.
And I think I think sometimes we focus too much on finding our purpose.
Yeah.
As opposed to where can we be productive?
Yeah.
And
that when I say purpose, that's what I mean.
Okay,
to me, like we're all created to contribute.
Yeah.
Okay. Like what is your contribution? Right. And if you're like you mentioned spiritual gifts, right? And so in 1 Corinthians 12, it talks about the church as a body.
Correct.
Right. And it talks about all these different body parts. And it's like, and it's not, and when I mean purpose, it's like, you're meant to do this specifically. No, like to me, it's like you were created to contribute in this way. So to me, I feel like teaching is my contribution, right? So whether I'm coaching my kids or whether I'm in a classroom or whether I'm volunteering at church in the classroom, or now that I'm an inspector, now I see myself as I'm educating people on homes, right? On the condition of the home.
Yeah.
And so my contribution, whatever I do, anywhere that I am, is education, education and teaching. And so that's what I mean when I talk about purpose. I don't mean like, oh, you're locked into this,
like your purpose-driven life type.
Yeah, no. It's more like, okay, like how how are you wired to help and
How can you
contribute?
be? Yeah, how can you be? Well, that quote that you were sharing. You know,
Oh, there you go.
how can you do your best for the team?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's right. That's the second half of it.
Yeah. Best for the team. Yeah. Yeah, you said that right. And yeah, that's what I started this channel thinking about my kids, right? Like how can you contribute? And yeah, and when you think about work, like there's a financial side of it. There are things to consider, right? Like you have a strength. Like I like teaching. Like I can do that in a variety of ways.
Oh yeah.
I can be a soccer coach. I can be a public school teacher. I can whatever. I can do a lot of different things with teaching. I could be a consultant, like whatever. Right. Me growing up, I didn't know those opportunities.
Correct.
My parents didn't. Well, two things. My parents didn't say like, "Hey, what are your strengths?" and let's look at what you're good at. Two, my parents were like, well, we struggled financially, so we don't want you to struggle financially. So my options were, you're going to be an engineer, you're going to be a doctor, you're going to be a lawyer. Like it was just any profession that makes a lot of money, like follow that.
Yeah.
Because we don't want you to struggle financially. Like we struggle financially. So that was me growing up, right? I ended up finding the way I contribute, right? But these conversations is okay. Like your line of work, my line of work is this. This is my experience in this line of work. These are the pros, these are the cons, this is what it looks like. And then someone out there can be like, hey, I want to do that, right? Yeah. I had a friend that's a firefighter. He wanted to be a coach coming out of high school. We played soccer together in high school. The bump in the road with his career was he thought, okay, I want to coach, so I have to get some kind of degree and become a teacher. I have to teach so that I can coach. And he ended up not coaching because he's like, I don't want to be a teacher.
Yep.
So now he's a firefighter.
Yeah. But a lot of people don't know. Most schools, they hire teachers first.
Okay. Yeah.
They get preferential, but
yeah.
But I completely agree with what you're saying. Like for me, I love teaching.
Yeah.
I do. I love teaching, but there's a certain financial side with it that comes along with it too. So I remember talking with my boss a couple months ago. Okay. I was like, this is what I want to do. He's like, okay. I said, here's my dollar amount that I have to make. He's like, oh, I said, here's my window. He's like, okay, well, maybe we can work on that. And and I think that's a huge thing too, because having to manage your expectations. If you want to coach, just so you know, that's not a lot of glamour, not a lot of glitz. If you like to wear normal street clothes and civilian clothes, maybe coaching is not for you. There we go. I'm going to add that into a con. I believe it or not, get very tired of wearing shorts or pants and running. Yeah. Yeah. I miss.
Do you have a uniform?
I do.
Okay.
They're sweatpants and shorts and a jersey and a training top.
That's funny. For my job, I put uniform as a pro because I don't want to think about what I have to wear. Even for this channel, I told my wife, I was like, I'm going to create a uniform for when I interview people. Totally. So I had this shirt made. I wear the same jeans. I wear the same shoe. One episode, I wore my sandals.
Oh, no.
And I would move my feet and you'll see it. And it's like, you hear the Velcro. I was like, okay, no more sandals. Some sambas, jeans, and this shirt.
There you go.
I don't like to think about what I'm going to wear.
But honestly, like knowing what you need financially is also a huge help. It helps you kind of line up your goals of what you need to do.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm fortunately in a very good position where I don't have to have this huge dollar amount. Yeah. Which makes coaching a more viable option for me. Yeah. Thankfully, Sarah's able to bring a little bit more to the table.
Yeah. I was able to teach because we put ourselves in a situation. We actually were a one income household. I was a teacher, my wife stay-at-home mom. We bought a house. That was the only debt we had was our house. And so we were able to live off that income. I did have to do summer school and I would do side hustles, but that's also an important lesson is creating a life, right? That's what I tell my kids. Like, the reason I don't want you to get student loans is because when you finish your degree, you have options, right? Like my brother has like 3 different degrees and doesn't use them. Thankfully, he didn't take out any loans, so he's not paying for those things. Yep. But I think the statistic is 40% of students that take out loans don't finish college.
Correct.
Which is insane. That you're paying for something that you don't have. Like you said, you don't have that certificate that says I can do this because they don't finish for whatever reason.
Yeah, and it's tough. I remember when we finally paid off my student loans. That was huge. It was like, because it's freeing.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I was not expecting to have a. I was expecting to play. I was expecting to play college ball my entire career.
Oh, okay,
So I was expecting my scholarship to keep going up, and by my senior year,
yeah,
c'est la vie.
Yeah. No. So that's even a good lesson to kind of think about, the life that you create, right? And what it takes to financially to sustain that life. Are there any trends in coaching that have either changed and or are changing?
Yes.
Okay.
As society changes, so does coaching.
Okay.
And it's weird. We have some really young guys in the club, like 21, 22.
Oh, nice.
And even listening, like we're talking and then just like, I can't, like, they're like, I can't speak to the kids because of like using profanity or anything like that. But things that were acceptable to say in college or high school just 4 or 5 years ago is no longer politically or socially acceptable.
Yeah.
You're having to be aware a lot more of what you say when you say it, your tone of voice, positivity versus negativity. Like that's a huge one. Like, back when we were playing and you did this wrong, you did this wrong, you did this wrong. Boom, you get yelled at. Coach throws stuff. That's unacceptable. Now it's like, hey guys, this is not working.
Yeah.
How can we positively, so the whole concept is different, but we're still expecting the same competitive. It's just as society is changing, adapting with it.
Yeah.
So that's a tough one. Making sure you're current. So it's a struggle for the coaches who are 20, 21, 22.
Yeah.
I'm 44.
Yeah.
I remember you have to get safe sport certified and concussion. Like there's all these other little certificates that you have to do to stay legal to be around young people.
Okay.
And and one of them, it was is this a transphobic statement? So the coach was telling so the statement read, Coach A tells Coach B, understanding these pronouns is going to be difficult for me.
Yeah.
And I said, that's a legitimate statement.
Yeah.
I got that question wrong.
Wow.
And so, so understanding like that whole world of just even your verb, even admitting something honest, like this is going to be hard for me to respect you the way you want to be respected.
Yeah.
Understanding that's not socially acceptable to say, well, but it's true.
Yeah.
And I am respecting you.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things like that. And then there's also a lot of research that's coming out, like how positivity affects the brain, how negativity affects the brain, consequence versus resiliency. Like there's a lot of other things that are coming out alongside with like concussion health and physical therapy, physical fitness, different methodologies. Like there is a lot always going on. Yeah. And so it's just, it's a shotgun blast. Like you could pick anything and trying to keep up with it all. Yeah.
And do coaches have like continuing education requirements?
Some clubs do, some clubs do not.
Oh, okay.
So we do a monthly coaching education meeting.
Oh, cool.
And that's pretty overwhelming.
I bet.
Because you walk away going, man, I never knew that. And then sometimes you walk away going, I've called this one thing my entire life, and I have to call it this because it's changed. It's like, then you're kind of stuck in those moments where you look like you don't know anything because you can't speak, because you don't know what words to use anymore. You're just like, and by the time then the moment's gone, you can't say anything anyway. Because
do you think that makes it harder to create like resilient kids that, because I think it's important in sports because it is a competition. At the end of the day,
it is.
You want to win. At the end of the day, the result, you want to score more goals than the other team. And when you don't, it's like you said, there's an expectation from the coach, there's an expectation from the players that they don't like losing. There's an expectation from the parents, from the club. Like how do we navigate this expectation of winning with, oh, but I can't talk to you like this. I have to be positive. I don't want to offend you, but
bingo,
that's got to be,
and that's where it starts at. Is there an age where certain things are just what they are?
Yeah.
At 15, 16 years old, you're pretty much set. So when do you shift that focus and attention? Do you start with, at 7 years old, we start doing resiliency through structured environment. For example, like if we're in a classroom and we're working on multiplication, right? Then all of a sudden, just to mix things up, you throw in one addition. It's like we're doing 10 problems and nine of them are multiplication, and one of them is just addition, and so they're an autopilot, and then they get it wrong. So you purposely plan failure. Okay, no big deal, right?
Yeah.
And then as you keep progressing, you keep throwing in problems that are harder and harder and require them more to think. So that's a planned failure, but they're learning how to think. So so in a soccer environment, how do we create that environment where it's positive, it's structured, but they are forced to fail. Yeah. Not fail, but they're forced not to have the success of winning. Yeah. Which makes them in turn want to push through it and endure. And so there's different aspects that you can focus on at different age groups. Yeah. Okay. So
that's good. I think it's a good way of doing it. Yeah. Because and then then you can have those conversations of,
correct,
why did we not succeed?
And but then again, it's at what age do you have that conversation? What age does a conversation change? Because right now, like with some 13-year-olds, if I have to hear skibbity and L and low aura and all that type of stuff, I'm like, dude, it doesn't matter. You still miss the goal. So can we not worry about how cool you sound? Yeah. And focus, and so there's lots of fun ways of navigating. It's no different than the classroom. Yeah. Except the difference is no, in all honesty, it's really no different. You're still still trying to convince somebody that what they're doing needs to be improved.
Yeah. And you had you mentioned earlier about one of the pros of your job is seeing the kids, or the kids telling you like, hey, you were able to push me to this next level. In education, that little gap, we call that zone of proximal development, right? And it's a teacher recognizing, okay, by himself, the student can do this, right? But on this extreme, if I give him this assignment, he cannot do this no matter what. But there's a level where if I help him, kind of like, I'll use bench pressing as an analogy, right? Like when someone's going to max out, it's not safe to do it by yourself.
Correct.
But if you have a spotter, right, and I'm under it and I'm not lifting it with you, I'm just as much assistance as you need, I'm helping you, and you're going to get stronger, right?
Correct.
Same thing in education, right? Like there's an area of these problems are too easy. These problems are too hard. These problems you can do if I help and I coach you.
Yep.
Right. And it's being able to find that on the soccer field, right? And progress through that.
And the hard part is when do you pull away?
Yeah.
So I kind of look at it as riding a bike.
Yeah.
Some of those concepts, like so in the classical model, right? You have your new grammar, your dialectic, your rhetoric. So new information, questioning it, mastering it.
Okay.
And then at the same time, you have your known You're like, I know these things.
Yeah.
I know I don't know these things, and I have a whole heap of things that I don't know that I don't know.
Yeah.
Haven't even hit yet.
Yeah.
Okay. And so normally we're like, okay, this is how we do this. Okay, you struggle with this. Now you've mastered it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I say. Those are the problems that I understand. These are too easy for me.
Yeah.
Because I've gone through it, I've done it, but I don't know what I don't know.
Yeah.
And so so you help them, you spot them,
Mm-hmm.
but when do you walk away?
Yeah.
So that's that bike riding illustration. So like you're helping them with a brand new task. Eventually you gotta let go.
Yeah.
And that's the fun part. It's just for me, like when do you stop telling them to do that?
And then society saying, well, it's bad for them to fall off. Society saying, well, you can't let them fall.
Correct.
So now am I chasing them? And as soon as they fall, I'm going to catch them.
Yeah. And it's no different on the field, like I don't like during a game, like a last college showcase I was at. That's how most of the coaches were.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, interesting.
And I agree. Like if I do what I am supposed to do, then I shouldn't have to give instruction and correction the entire game.
Yeah.
If I did not, and I'm finding that I have to do that, then I need to go back and regroup.
Yeah.
But I can't.
We need to train differently.
Exactly. Yeah. But you can't teach new things in a game.
During the test.
Like during the test is not the time to go, hey, hold on. But that is difficult because sometimes silence from the coaching, parents interpret it as bad.
Oh yeah, there's a joke in teaching there where you walk around and you see a kid answering a question wrong, and you just yell, you just make sure you're reading through the question. You're not telling them, but you're like, make sure you're reading through the questions.
Like even in homeschool, so it's just Mike and I, right? So just, even then, I'm like, I'll do something like, did you really read that all the way through? Maybe you should check that one more time.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm like, well, really, dude, you should really just one. And that,
that's funny.
But yeah, and so dealing with societal expectations of parents.
Yeah.
And just to understand the practical side, because at the end of it, how do you create exciting, resilient people?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter where you go or what you do.
Yeah.
If you are exciting, like if you are passionate about what you do and you have strengths in what you do and you have an understanding of what you do, you can be an exciting person.
Yeah.
And I think at the end of the day, you can be an exciting person as a bus driver, as a trash person, as a teacher, as maybe a lawyer. I don't know. They don't really seem too happy, but but learning those keys of resiliency is huge.
Yeah.
And to have a passion about what you do.
Yeah.
I think those two things are more important for me as a coach to try to instill. So players and turn into people like that, and then they can find their purpose in anything and have satisfaction.
Yeah. I tell my kids, so I do talk to my kids before they play, and I tell them you should have fun and you should get tired. And then after the game, those are the only questions. I don't talk about this mistake and this, I let them talk. But at the end of the game, I said, did you have fun and did you get tired? And if they didn't have fun, it's like, well, you're supposed to have fun. It's just a game. You're not a professional. And you're supposed to get tired. If you didn't get tired, like you weren't trying hard enough, right? So those are the things I tell my kids. Is there anything I should add to that?
My pregame talk's a lot different than that.
Oh yeah.
No, my pregame talk is more like, dude, I really believe in you.
Yeah.
I think you guys are smart. I think you guys are intelligent. I think you understand the game.
Yeah.
Okay. If someone's faster than you, what do you do?
Yeah.
If you need to do this, what do you do? And so for me, I go through little checklists. Like, Mike started out the season at 4'9", 4'9" and 82 pounds.
Yeah.
And he's playing a year up.
Nice.
So when you're playing against guys that are 5'8", 120, 130, it's a lot different. So there's lots of checklists that we go through, like make sure you're doing this.
Yeah.
What can you control? If you are, find yourself here, like, and so it's just reminding him. So as he's getting ready to go into an overwhelming situation.
Yeah.
most of the game is just doing what you do and doing it well.
Yeah.
And so if you can check your shoulder and make sure that you're a step ahead, do it well.
Yeah.
If you're going, in a foot race with somebody who's bigger than you and faster than you,
Yeah.
how do you win that one? Do you run side by side or do you step in?
Yeah.
And it's having him go through, what am I good at? What do I know?
Yeah.
And with Raya, it's more like, how is your field positioning? How's your body positioning?
Yeah.
What can you control and what you're doing?
Yeah.
And then, so if they're already going into the game knowing what they can control,
Yeah.
They don't really say like, hey, do this, do that, do this.
Yeah.
But reminding them as they're going into a stressful situation, how they can control themselves.
Yeah.
Then when things happen, they're in control of that.
Yeah. It's another life lesson.
Mm-hmm.
Control the things you can control.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can't control it, a lot of us
then quit and go something else.
Yeah. No, a lot of people live very reactionary, right? They go day to day reacting to things, and that's very stressful.
Mm-hmm.
But if you live your life on a big picture, if you live your life with certain values, those values, you're not making a lot of choices throughout your day.
Correct.
Because you're like, these are my values, and these values drive the decisions I make. And because of these values, like a lot of my choices are made for me.
True. And the difficulty is now in our culture, it seems like having values is a social mores.
Yeah.
And as long as that is inverted, like I would say we are mainstream educated, systematized to live in that reaction, higher cortisol reaction.
Yeah.
We are never told, like, even in our news, like, this is what's going on. Right. Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah.
But what can we do?
Yeah.
No, hey guys, this is going on. You need to make sure to go to your polls. You need to make sure to check in, who's running for sheriff, who's running for this. How do we, because there's a lot of fear and there's a lot of stress that we can control, but no different than like when you start coaching, like no one tells you what your options are. No one tells you what you can control.
Yeah. It's another life lesson.
That's a whole other conversation.
A whole other podcast.
That's a whole other one.
Yeah. We have a lot of life lessons on this episode. So what advice would you give to someone? So like my friend that was like, I don't want to teach, so I guess I can't coach, right? What advice would you give someone starting off? Like, I want to coach.
Learn to teach.
Oh, that's a good one.
No, I hate to say it, but if you did not play at a very high level, you need to, and you don't have someone from a higher level to actually like mimic and replicate. Yeah. Learning is huge. Yeah. Learning how to learn, learning how to teach. Yeah. It is huge because if you understand more teaching principles and teaching models, you increase your chance of actually reaching people. Yeah. If you've gone through like believe it or not, logic is huge. Mm-hmm. Being able to say this is that, therefore this is that. Yeah. It's huge and helping children to navigate sound logic, how to reason very well. Okay. And the more you know, the more you can do that. Yeah. So reading up on coaching books. So if I wanted to be a coach, I would pull out some classics from Tony DeCicco, Anson Dorrance, Ans Wegner. Read what other coaches have done. Read. Go to coaching symposiums. If you want to coach and you don't want to be a coach in the high school system, then there are options and opportunities to do that. Yeah. But it does require learning. Yeah. And it does require learning how to teach. Because again, not everyone's a good coach. Not everyone's a good teacher. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And so sometimes you might need to go learn how to teach. Yeah. Yeah, because it's different from just playing the game. Correct. Being a great player doesn't automatically transition to, oh, well, I can coach. I had that growing up. My two oldest siblings were engineers. Mm-hmm. I was like, I'm going to be an engineer, right? When I got into like the math, right? I'm in like calculus in high school. My sister would try to teach me. They both knew very high level math. They were engineers. My sister couldn't explain it to me in a way that I could understand it. And my brother was like, oh, here. Like he could
I understood it when he explained it to me.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And they're both electrical engineers, and they're very smart. They're both very smart. But like you said, like being able to do something and being able to teach that thing is very different.
Mm-hmm. It is very different. And, and in all my years of coaching, I have met maybe 3 players that I'm like, you should coach.
Oh yeah.
Like, not saying you can't play.
Yeah.
But as soon as you stop playing, you should definitely go coach.
Oh, nice.
Because your understanding of the game, how you connect with people.
Yeah.
Or you should go be a teacher. But but it requires a different sense of compassion and empathy.
Yeah.
And so
yes, that's true. All right. Well, I can't end it without asking you who your favorite player of all time is.
Of all time.
And you can only pick one.
Only one. Oh.
No, you can answer that question however.
One per country? Or,
sure. No, however you want to answer it.
Unfortunately, that is a very hard answer for me.
Okay.
So growing up, I grew up in Nebraska.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of ethnic people there.
Yeah.
And so whenever we would get our cable specials for the month, like actually get cable, the only games that would show would be AC Milan, Juventus, and Manchester United.
Okay.
And so George Weah, Edgar Davids, and Cole from Newcastle, and Paul Ince, not Newcastle, for Man United. Those guys were monumental. This was the first time I actually saw black players on the field.
Okay.
And the first time I saw a Celtic game, I saw Heinrich Larsson. I was like, there's a biracial kid. Oh my goodness.
Oh, nice.
And so for me, those guys, and then Thierry Henry, those are my like, whoa.
Yeah.
I never knew that was an option for me.
Oh, interesting.
And like Kobe Jones was in America, but America was America.
Yeah.
At that time. At that time, Mexico was better than America.
Yeah.
You remember those days.
I do remember those days before the 2-0. I never heard that growing
up. But for me, it was huge in finding my identity.
Okay.
And so for me, those players were just huge.
Yeah.
And so not necessarily the best players or anything like that, but they were emotionally pivotal players in my world.
Interesting.
But as far as like talent and stuff would go, Zinedine Zidane.
Oh, that's my favorite player of all time.
I knew I liked you.
He's my favorite player of all time. And that was in the Ronaldinho days, Ronaldo days. That Brazil team back in the 90s was just...
I was a stacked team.
Stacked. They went to 3 straight, if I remember correctly, 3 straight final World Cups. And Zidane beat him in 98. He's my favorite. Interestingly enough, I was born in Mexico. For some reason, growing up here in the States, we didn't watch a lot of soccer. We would watch, the World Cup was big. That's when we would watch. When I would go home, it was just Tigres. All my family was Tigres, and so we would support that team. My dad didn't like soccer, so we just never watched it growing up. But for the World Cup, we would watch the World Cup. And then I had a brother that a year older than me that he was just very influential in my life. So back in I think it was 1990 is when Germany won.
Yep.
He loved Klinsmann.
So you're a Klinsmann fan.
And so he's like, I'm like, all right, here we go. Like, so Germany was actually the first team that I followed and liked. Okay. I didn't even follow Mexico at the time. It was like Germany. I love Germany. So then I start growing. I start watching more soccer, and Zidane hits the radar, and dude, that he just became my favorite player. Okay. Which is why to this day I dislike Italy. Anytime Italy is in a tournament, I'm like, no, I hope they lose. I just dislike Italy.
I understand.
Yeah.
But no, I'll be honest with you. For me, my favorite national team was the Netherlands.
Oh, okay.
Of course, you got Edgar Davids on there and Clivert.
Yeah.
And, at that time, when you look at that roster, they were all like dark skinned like me. It's like, so for me, Netherlands was just always just like,
yeah.
So, but never did so well.
Yeah. So me growing up, Germany, France, and now Mexico, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like those are the teams that I root for. I started watching Manchester United the Ronaldo days, and so my boys, the older one likes Messi, the younger one likes Ronaldo, so they're always fighting. I like both of them. I think they're both extraordinary players. I started watching Ronaldo first, and so I'm a little bit more of a Ronaldo fan, but Messi, I think, had a great career. I think it was, I love that I was able to see them in La Liga and just Spain. I'm sorry, Barcelona, Madrid, like those. I think were just awesome years for me growing up.
They really were, and I feel for a lot of these younger players now. It's just it's just Messi or Ronaldo. I'm like you guys don't remember when they started out. When Messi came in off the bench, and Ronaldinho was on the field.
His first goal was off of a Ronaldinho pass.
You sit there and got like little guys. You don't remember like back then. It wasn't like one player on a team. It was the team was a star. Like it was it.
Yeah,
maybe that was just my dramatized version of it.
Well, even the national teams that had a lot more like
they had tons of depth.
Yeah,
but ultimately, like if I had to pick Ronaldo or Messi, I'd pick the original Ronaldo.
Number 9. R9.
No, I appreciate them both. They are both phenomenal athletes and phenomenal people.
Yeah.
From what people, as far as I've received them, I don't really know them personally, but but their work ethic and what their teammates say about them is really cool.
Yeah. Well, you may agree with me on this. And I tell my kids this all the time. I don't get into the whole GOAT debates. Like, I don't believe in the greatest of all time, especially in sports.
No.
I'm sorry, especially in team sports.
It's impossible.
So like growing up, I liked Michael Jordan. I got when I was 12, that was my birthday gift. It was the happiest day of my life. When I graduated high school, I started following LeBron. We're the same age, me and LeBron. I started following LeBron, and I have followed him his whole career. I watched, the Christmas game last night against Curry. It was a great game. And so people my age, a lot of people that I know my age hate LeBron, and they're like, Jordan's the greatest or whatever. And I'm like, I like both of them. I grew up loving Jordan. I love LeBron now. And I don't think you can say this guy is better than this guy.
No. And I'm weird. I'm a Scottie Pippen fan.
Oh, nice.
So back in those days when it was Jordan and all that, it's just like, I was like, but Scottie Pippen.
Yeah.
Like, you guys see what Scottie Pippen is doing. Like, and I think in a team sport, if you don't have a network around you, supporting you, then you're not really going to stand out. I mean, you can.
Yeah.
But they help facilitate your greatness.
Yeah. I mean, look at Barry Sanders, the things he was able to do kind of without he didn't have a great quarterback. He didn't have a great, team around him. He retired early because he was like, dude, there's a lot of players that, if they're not in the right system, they're not going to do well.
Yeah.
Right.
And let's be honest, Messi was in a really good environment at Barcelona. And they protected him, and they not sheltered him, not in a bad way. Like, they fostered him, and the team dynamic was to support him.
Yeah.
And
then he played with all the Spanish. He basically played with the Spanish national team that won the Euro and the World Cup, and I think they won 3 national titles in a row.
Yeah, it was too much. It was insane.
Yeah, that was just a great team, and you have Villa and you have Iniesta, and it's just a stacked. He's surrounded by all of that, right?
And even when they won the World Cup,
I
mean, his team, like the whole goal was like. Said to Messi, make sure Messi gets it.
Yeah. So my favorite Argentinian player is Di Maria.
Oh, okay.
Fidel, they call some people say I look like him. So though when I go play soccer, they don't know my name. They just start calling me Fidel.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, which is kind of cool. But he's my favorite Argentinian player. I do like Messi, but Di Maria, oh man, that guy's incredible. My kids actually they're right-handed, but they kick with their left. So I'm always showing them Di Maria clips.
Not Roberto Carlos. I mean,
oh man, if they had my younger son kicks hard. Daniel kicks really hard. It'd be cool if he turned out to be to be able to do that curve kick.
Have you seen the glass breaking one or the panel breaking one?
No.
So they have all these 8 panels.
Okay.
Have all these guys blasting the ball at it.
Yeah.
And
trying to break through.
Yeah. Everyone's getting 3, 4.
Yeah.
And Roberto Carlos right through them all.
Really? Dude, that guy had I don't know how.
He did it recently.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Man, that guy. I would not want to be in that wall. No.
Well, it wouldn't hit you. It wouldn't hit you at all. It was just
go
right
by. Still, man, just the possibility of being hit by one of his kicks. Yeah. Very cool, man. All right. Oh, any closing remarks for anyone out there?
Thank you. I had a good time.
Yeah, it was fun. Thank you for being on the show, and I'm sure it's gonna help someone out there that wants to be a coach, and now they know. Remember, don't apply to any job.
never apply. just do your best where you're at.
Yeah. No, that's good. No, I appreciate you coming on the show. And for you guys, thanks for tuning in to My Line of Work. If today's story inspired or intrigued you, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an episode. If you have a career you're curious about, drop it in the comments, and we'd love to feature it. So, hasta la próxima.